since this would be their third shot at this, the only concern would probably be making sure they don't hurt the vegetation.
Yeah.
You know?
And that, part of, when I said I was against it, after it happened last year, Scott was pretty upset because they drove all over the grass.
Yeah.
And so, but then at the meeting, Scott was like, well, it's just the same as Old Settlers.
Or,
The Old Settlers picnic?
oh,
Right.
gotcha. Gotcha.
So,
Because all
it didn't,
the stuff that they put on the grass.
yeah, they drive tractors on it and stuff, so I guess if he doesn't have a problem with it, I don't have a problem with it.
I would have a concern too with parking and that amount of activity, depending on the age range of people attending this,
Yeah.
making sure nobody gets pasted walking across the road.
Right. And I mean, I guess parking in general is really the only concern I ever had about the whole thing is just I don't even like it for Old Settlers Picnic. Just because it never used to be a big deal, but now there's so many people around and that road is narrow.
And we have the protected monkey.
How come they never
Right.
asked to use, I understand it's right there on the lake and everything, but why did they never ask to use Miles Kimberly?
Because
Bring our kids, so why are we
I have
canceling
one
school?
o'clock.
Because it's bothering the old people.
How you doing, Scott?
You're not in school.
Good.
I'm old.
So am I, but
Is there
I'm not
copies
at
for me or are
school.
these yours?
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Are you feeling
I
better?
looked at that, we can share.
You all better?
Yeah, I can share too.
No.
You
I
can
don't know, they do.
work?
Oh, no, it's a lot better.
Okay. You looking to hire anybody? I'm looking for some work.
Actually, yeah,
A mower.
20 hours a week all summer. Fill out an app.
Fill out an app. I just want to do it at night. Have fun out there. Mow. I love mowing.
Just fill out an application.
No, I'm not gonna get paid for it, huh? I know, I would love, that's my dream job. I want to come mow cars.
1 o'clock.
Oh, I'm chairman.
Yep.
I was waiting for you, Casey. Thank you. Yeah, we're called to order, Laurel. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Awesome. Okay, good. We will, is there anything else that you want to, we have, anything else you want to add to the agenda? And do we have an update on where we are with the Grub Shack or nothing?
I can talk about it.
Okay.
There's not a lot.
Yeah, I know it's hopefully coming up, so. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Letter.
That's the email.
Okay, and support.
Is that mine?
This?
Oh, I was going to share with you guys the other way. Okay, Dawn?
All in favor?
Aye.
Are you good on that? Do you have any, on the agenda?
Oh,
you're
no.
okay with the agenda? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. I don't see any public action items. Election of officers. That's for this committee, so does anybody else want to chair Old Settlers Park Committee?
I move to re-elect Melinda Lautner as president of the Old Settlers Committee.
Chairman.
Chairman.
I second that. If you want that.
Okay. I don't care, really.
Okay.
I'm ready to hand it over if somebody doesn't want to, I'd be happy to nominate somebody who wants to chair.
I wanted to get on it before you did it to me. So.
Yeah. All right. With no other motions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Do we need to do secretary and?
Do,
It should
for
just be.
these-
It's just chairman.
Yeah.
Just chair.
Okay.
Here's Steve.
Oh, great. Come on in, Steve, discuss part of count.
You're the
We
chairman.
just elected you
Yep.
chairman.
Hi.
You're late.
You never want to be.
I
late
shouldn't
for-
say we.
But I didn't even think of that, I forgot you're on, yeah, darn it. Yeah, you're lucky. See, we're gonna now look at this request from the Glen Lake Community Reformed Church. So they want to hold this.
Oh, their concert again?
Concert July 18th, 6 to 9. It's a Saturday. Saturday?
I'm assuming.
I would assume so,
It
yeah.
says in the letter the 18th, but on the agreement it says the 13th.
That might have been because that was from last year, wasn't it? Might have been the
Yeah.
big.
Well, this
Oh,
is
that's
gonna be the
2019.
20th.
Yeah,
This is
this
last
is the
year's,
month-
okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
What month are we in?
We're
Sorry.
in
July
July.
18th.
That's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, okay. So last year, they held it there. Did we get a report back from them? I know we heard a little bit back about they need some money and where it went, but did we get an actual report back from them?
Well, it goes to support their help link, isn't it?
It's a free will offering, because you can't
Yep.
say anything
Right,
else.
but whatever
Yeah.
money they collect,
Yeah.
I believe goes to help link.
Oh, it goes all to the same,
Yeah.
okay. And did we hear how much it was?
I don't recall.
Okay. I mean, that's the only thing I'd like to see, because we're being generous in allowing them to use our park. So we should get a report back on,
And I'm sure that they would be more than willing to offer that,
Yeah.
but without asking for it, I don't think that they.
Right.
And do you remember getting anything, Laurel? I don't remember getting a report as far as,
No.
I know they said it was a success, but they never gave me any dollar figures.
No.
Did they send a thank you?
I think, yeah, I got a follow-up email from them.
The only thing I remember is you saying about the parking on the
Parking.
grass and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, they never said anything to me about it.
Yeah, it was a brief email. if I
They
remember.
trenched the grass and they ran over a few bushes, but, yeah, it was pretty minimal really, but.
can we avoid that?
Same
this year?
as like the Old Settlers Park picnic? Comparable?
Yeah, it's probably worse.
Worse than the Old Settlers? Cause it's
Those
people that
guys
don't know the
trash
park,
cans.
that's why, right?
Well, that was
They
my
don't.
biggest.
I want that on record.
Well, and I remember talking to you shortly after that, and you sent me some pictures of the grass, and it was pretty.
Yeah.
It wasn't torn up, but it was obviously very driven on. Cars followed each other down the same path, and it was and that was my
And the
biggest.
catalytic converters burned spots in the grass, and it all grew back, it's just grass. Looked like hell for a month.
The only problem is if it's really wet before that event, we could have a real problem if they're not if they're driving where they shouldn't be. It could make a.
Ruts.
Yeah.
I was mad about it, but
Well, should we?
it's just grass.
Steve?
I was thinking that, this might be a good opportunity, you know the folks pretty well, I think, they're asking, right? They live just down the way a bit and.
Yeah, he's a member of the church and works at the Help Link program and all that stuff.
Seems like, maybe that person, somebody from the church or two or three could meet with representatives, maybe you two, at the park well beforehand and talk about how it would be nice for it to go.
Some crowd control.
Or to eliminate some of the grass traffic
Right.
at least. 'Cause
I don't know how you could, I mean, you're gonna park in the park.
Well, with some.
Well, just so long as
string.
they're knowledgeable about what's going on and what happened, and they could be, instrumental in, setting up some maybe just little rope barriers
Right, yeah, something fairly simple.
beforehand. And then maybe a little repair on the after side. It doesn't sound like it's gonna be a huge outlay to do either one of those things, but it'd be a nice connection, and they're down the street, if they take ownership of the park as far as making sure that it's right before and after this event, I think that could go a real long way.
Laurel's gonna speak to something. Is it the defacement of the?
Well, I think it would, in keeping with your suggestions, section 7, preparation and restoration of
Okay.
premises, addresses that you have to have the sheriff's office review and approve the licensee's event, traffic, and parking management plan prior to the event, and it wouldn't hurt to have a park representative who could add those concerns while you're meeting for this park
Mhm.
plan.
That's perfect. They
Yeah,
they
I
could be
agree.
totally up on the whole
Yep.
thing, that'd be great.
And Casey brought up before you got here about maybe them busing people parking down at their own church, which is a mile and a half
Little
down the
shuttle
road, and
service
shuttle
Go a
service.
long way.
Yeah.
A wagon,
I
whatever.
recall that conversation we had with them last year, they weren't too thrilled with that idea, but I think.
Then they can go to
The
miles.
thing is,
Yeah.
if it keeps building in attendance like it has been, they
Yeah.
might not have much of an option.
Right.
You know?
Right?
Well, it's
Or
a-
not
it's
move
a-
it there.
If it keeps
little-
getting bigger, they won't be able to use
Mhm.
our park.
Well, yeah,
That part.
plain and simple.
That part.
Plain and simple, it's a
Right.
little park, and if they wanna keep the
Right.
venue,
They're
they
gonna
might
have-
start having to think about that.
Yeah, it would definitely be better at Miles, but.
Yep, that's
for
what I
sure.
think.
They want the sunset on the lake, I'm sure.
It's quite a special venue, just not.
It
very
absolutely
big.
is.
Right,
I agree.
well, and as far as capacity of people, that's not a problem, it's the parking.
parking.
You know, there's just no parking for a crowd that big. And it's the same thing for the Old Settlers Picnic. I mean, everybody, you know, you park out on the road. Never really used to be a big worry because there wasn't that much traffic, but all the people here now, and people coming from out of town that drive like maniacs,
70
texting.
miles an hour down there.
Yeah, texting and driving, all that stuff where you know, people aren't paying attention, so.
So I think, Pam, it's in there
Yeah.
that they're touching base with the sheriff's department,
So
And we
why
can
and
don't-
the
tell
sheriff's
them-
department will probably wanna have somebody there.
So why don't we modify that clause to read?
They didn't last year.
Having the Leelanau County Sheriff's Office and Parks Commission member,
Me.
Parks Commission designee, review and approve the plan. That way we have a seat on that.
That's fine.
And Laurel brought up the fact that this is a lot earlier. I mean, we're in March right now, and they didn't bring it till, what, a week before
Yeah,
last year?
Yeah, it seemed like it anyway.
I mean, it was like right now, we're doing it next week or something. So we got lots of time to,
He says he'll be out of the country. till
Iron this
15th,
out. He ain't going nowhere.
That's so,
Right.
yeah.
Now,
Depending
let's
on
say
what-
worst case scenario, something happens to the pavilion, or there's some shrub, a sizable amount of shrubs there.
Right.
Under section 6, it says, shall not injure, mar, nor in any manner deface the park premises, including but not limited to surrounding vegetation or any equipment contained herein. But maybe you should have something in there that says something to the effect that it should be brought back up to,
The way it was.
yeah. That way
Restored.
they're on the hook if, you know,
Something bad
let's
happened.
say some moron runs into the side of the gazebo and it's gotta be rebuilt because it's not salvageable.
Right,
That's a lot of money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's fine.
Has to be in the same condition as when they
Yeah,
went there.
Park left.
And I can ask council to.
They'll have to review that, yeah, they might have a little bit.
Boy Scout motto, leave it better than where you found it.
Yeah. So are you looking for a motion to that effect for those two additions?
Yeah, have council review and make the changes to the
So moved.
park use agreement for Old Settlers County Park for the Glen Lake Community Church, Reformed Church event in July of 2020, something like that.
Support.
And I don't know if we can get it back before next week, but because it's such a small revision, there's a good chance we could.
Okay.
Just cut
You
it.
can
It'd
always-
be, and we can basically approve it
Pending.
pending
Pending
council
council
review or
review,
whatever.
yep.
Just so that we do keep this
Perfect.
rolling
That's
for
a
their
good idea.
sake and to get things, so they're not calling a week before and
And
the
for us,
sheriff's.
so we know that they know what we want.
Okay. Is there any other discussion, anything else anybody wants to add or discuss on that? They'll come back to us, it sounds like anyway, so. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. So we'll bring this Wednesday,
Next Wednesday.
Next
next
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
yeah.
on my calendar in front of me. Okay, we'll look at it then. That's fine. Okay, anything on Grove Shack, what is Jamie
He's,
looking at?
yeah, I've been in contact with him here quite a bit lately. I've been in contact with Laurel, getting the contract revised so that he can get the materials paid for when he gets the invoice, so that he's not having to fork out the money for it. So that's in play. He has the contract. I have to pick it up from him. He has to sign it yet. And the sole proprietor, I have a question about that.
Okay.
It says on there that he does not hire any subcontractors. His partner is a subcontractor through him.
Mhm.
So I don't know if this,
I'd have to bring that to MMRMA to get a ruling on that.
okay.
Well, and there might be a question for Jamie, who pays his subcontractor's insurance? Does the subcontractor pay his own insurance?
He has his own insurance.
He has his own insurance. So I think that's probably what that clause was for. So if he has the insurance,
And usually,
we're
I mean,
okay, I think.
Jamie is he is the sole proprietor of the business. And then Rich is his partner, but not employee. He runs it as a subcontractor, so they don't have to deal with the workman's comp insurance, basically.
Yeah, and I'm not an insurance expert.
Right.
I have to punt
But
it
he
off.
has his builder's license. He's insured also because he does his own side work and stuff. So
Might need two groups of
Mhm.
insurance.
Like a certificate of liability, provide that, and
Well, your
it's usually.
cousin is not gonna be there just doing it by himself.
no, it's his partner. Rich is his name, and they work together. They're the only
So
two.
if he was just an employee, it would be okay?
Well,
For
he'd
him
have,
to work with them?
Covered by the one insurance policy.
Yeah.
he'd have
It's all
the
about insurance.
workman's comp insurance.
Okay,
And he doesn't carry workman's comp, so there's the affidavit to sign, but it says right on there, they will not hire any subcontractors. But Rich is a subcontractor. It's kind of a little bit of a goofy deal, is how they run it, but they're basically independent contractors that work together,
Yes,
have their,
that's exactly it.
Right?
so.
Okay, good, well, thank you. And so he plans on beginning,
Soon as he can, he didn't give me a date, but
Yeah.
he'll have it done before Wood Settlers,
excellent,
so.
that's great.
How
Um,
soon, I mean, is it gonna affect Wisconsin?
That's a great question.
Well,
Put up the yellow tape.
yeah. we might-
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Well, I don't-
it should cover it.
And have we received any donations from the neighboring group to help pay for the grub shack yet?
No, and I don't think we will.
they were all talking.
They weren't all talk, it's just taken us too long to get to this point for them to.
I think we could still donate.
Maybe they'll
Well, they
see
could,
it.
yeah.
Maybe they'll see it.
But the
Sorry,
last
you didn't know.
time we met, they basically were becoming harder to work with.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it was just, I'm not gonna beg, plead, and give you my firstborn child to get a donation towards this. If you don't really wanna do it, then, not that I don't wanna get donations for it.
I'd love to get some donations for it. They did start this whole ball rolling, so it'd be really nice
Well,
if they stepped
and the
up.
way I look at it though also is the grub shack needs to be fixed regardless of whether there was a
It
talk
does.
of,
And
I mean,
this is
it's.
a great addition to it. It's
Yeah.
not only fixing it, we're putting the pavilion, that's a nice thing, so I guess
And if,
it'll get even more use, which neighbors don't like.
It's not the place, but the one at Miles is in far worse condition, it gets more use.
Pavilion?
and I'm all for.
No, grub shack,
And I'm all for doing something there, but if it doesn't come from the subcommittee,
I know.
You know,
Yeah, I know, it's
Well,
not-
we've
I
kicked
just-
that can down the road for years, because we don't know what to do with that.
and I'd love to get the ball rolling on that, otherwise we're gonna lose that building too.
Yep.
So,
Yep,
at least a roof,
okay.
you know.
Well, that's great.
But yeah, we're working at it, I just get really in pretty good shape other than getting the affidavit figured out.
Okay, and I don't have this, I just want you to think of something, I don't have it on the agenda, but we have we developed a policy for tree planting donations in the park, and,
Yeah, I'd like to bring that up too.
okay. Well, we won't have action on it today, but we might need to come back and revisit that, because our attorney recommended we did not have a policy here, because, on this campus, because if we have a policy, then it's harder to say no to any, you have to accept all donations then, because you have a policy that says you'll accept them. So, but that park, we have room for donations. We have, at Old Settlers for sure, Miles too, we have room for donations, we have room for trees, we have room for benches, we got need, I guess. So, but did you want to speak to it? Because we can bring that back in a
Well,
future meeting.
Jerry told me, and I'm going to Jerry, but, the Building and Grounds Committee came up with all this policy, and now it looks as though if I wanna donate a tree, or somebody wants to donate a tree, it needs to go through like 4 committees or 5 to be approved. Let's go through our subcommittee, park committee,
Park committee.
building and
exec-
grounds committee,
Oh,
the
building-
executive committee,
and
and then the
regular
full
board.
board.
Yep. Because it's our
That's right.
policy on accepting donations. You gotta plan ahead.
So is that for everything?
Probably.
There's a dollar.
Except
Probably.
cash.
Is it like $100 or something? If it's over 100, it has to go through all the hoops.
Yeah, that might be, but to accept a donation for a tree, it would have to come, a tree or a bench or whatever, it has to come through.
The whole 9
I
yards.
did wonder though, and we can check on that, but why does, for
I guess what I'm asking, if you could get clarification on that.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't know why,
I think Chet's working on the language in the packet, so why don't you check with Chet? And I was a little ouchy during the department heads, and then he said, I'll get you so he's working on it, and then be a contact.
okay,
Well, the memo's gonna be part of the parks regular session for discussion next week.
okay, that's great, that's what we'll discuss it then. Super, okay. Board member comments.
I'm good.
Good,
That's
good,
all I need.
Yeah, I'm good.
good. Public comment? Good. Move to adjourn?
Support.
How's your
We're adjourned, Laura.
shoulder?
It's doing well.
You had the surgery?
I had the surgery, I had a sling for 6 weeks, and now I'm doing